walking, biking, public transit. Welcome to another episode of On Transit. In this episode of On Transit, I visit Portland, Oregon and ride the new Yellow Line MAX train and go on a walk. In 2004, the MAX Yellow Line train started running on Interstate Street in Portland, Oregon. The Yellow Line train runs down the middle of Interstate, which is a street very similar to University Avenue in St. Paul. Because many of the businesses along University Avenue in St. Paul are afraid of and opposed to the Central Corridor light rail train proposed for that street, I thought I'd visit some of the businesses along Interstate Street in Portland and see what they thought.
Albina, Mississippi. Doors to my left.
Puertas a mi izquierda.
We're North Star Coffee House, and we're located right across the platform from Max.
We are a family-owned and operated neighborhood-styled restaurant and lounge or bar and grill.
We are at Exodus Salon on North Interstate. We are a full-service salon, and I have been here for about 8 years.
We've got a great coffee house. It's a warm atmosphere. We've got some of the best gourmet coffee in town. It's a local roastery we get it from.
The Nighthawk has been here since 1931. Is the best number we can figure out for how long it's been here. So it's been a North Portland Institute essentially for all those years.
We've been in business for 3.5 years. It was a fluke how we got this house. It was a residence, and amazingly, no one went after it before I did. And we bought the property and then started a major renovation.
We renovated about 2 years ago, and so now we're in new space. And when I purchased the property 8 years ago, I knew that light rail was going to come through this neighborhood, and that was my deciding factor. So I waited it out, and as soon as they were done with their construction, I began mine, and that is why you're here today.
The main street that the Yellow Line goes down is Interstate Avenue, and the reason it was called Interstate Avenue is back in the 40s, 50s, and early 60s, it was the main thoroughfare between the state of Washington and the state of Oregon because we are right on the border with the Columbia River separating the two states. It was a very active, and there were several businesses located along the avenue because of the traffic. And when the interstate system went in, I-5 went in, which is just about 4 blocks to our east, the avenue experienced a serious decline in car activity, and thus businesses were hurt, and many of them closed down. And sadly, I think the avenue never reached its activity level as it had during its heyday, which was probably in the late 50s, early 60s.
So it's a really diverse little community. There's a lot of businesses, but there's also a lot of residential. And this specific piece of property that we're on, the storefront faces a very commercial area, and then the back of the home faces a very residential. So I feel like I have the best of both worlds, just for the simple fact that it looks very commercial, but I'm also still in such a residential area that the community's been really receptive, and a lot of the people that live in this neighborhood are able to walk over and get services without having to drive. And I also have been able to take advantage of some of the ridership. The people that are riding light rail ride by every single day, and I feel like that's 11,000 potential customers a day having a glimpse of my business, which I probably wouldn't get anywhere else.
For us, I think it gives us more visibility, and people getting off of Max, this is the stop where they get off mostly. They're thirsty, and they'll come in and patronize our business.
We are located in North Portland, which is more of a blue-collar, white-collar mixed neighborhood. It was one of the neighborhoods that was the last of the Portland area to really experience the economic boom that was going on with Portland in the late 90s and early 2000s. And but we've certainly seen a rebirth and a reinvigoration of both businesses and homes.
It is very urban. It is very diverse culturally and financially. Canton itself kind of has a small town feel, even though it is so urban. A lot of people walking their dogs out, going to the park, and because of the accessibility of the stores that are here, a lot of people do walk to it and from. We have a lot of bikers that come in. Along interstate, there's a real push for pedestrian traffic and bicycle traffic over cars.
We're a little bit remote here in Kenton and up and down Interstate Avenue, and the rail gave us a real connectiveness to the rest of the city.
Well, the Yellow Line went through a couple different phases. There was one phase, the very first design with the Yellow Line had several displacements of businesses. I'm not sure the exact numbers because it's been a couple of years now, but I don't want to say some 80 plus businesses and homes are going to be relocated because it was a very wide, there was a lot of widening of the streets to accommodate the line. The neighborhood and the businesses gathered together, and the TriMet, which is our transit authority here for mass transit, got together and came up with a new design. And I think there was only 1 or 2 or maybe 3 businesses or homes that were displaced with the Yellow Line. And it runs down the middle of the avenue so that it can have people from both sides of the street, a former four-lane highway, 4-lane avenue. But members of a community from both sides of the street can get on the light rail now and access it.
Since the line opened, there are new businesses springing up. The property values have shot sky high. I'm quite amazed at it personally.
Portland's done several light rail projects, and when they hit interstate, they probably have basically perfected the project. So they were very helpful with a lot of resources. We have the Portland Development Commission. I was able to take advantage of a storefront grant. I was also able to get some low interest money through Cascadia Revolving Fund, which is another program that worked hand in hand with TriMet to give small businesses low interest loans.
It looks like everybody is sprucing up.
Again, they've done the blue line and the red line, and they've mastered it. When they did the Burnside line, I think it was a hardship for a lot of businesses because it was one of the first projects that they did. So they didn't have community liaisons. Well, they may have, I don't know, I can't say for sure, but they had certain people that were dedicated to the small businesses and keeping in communication.
TriMet provided, and this was vital to us, a community liaison. Her name was Coral Tenfingers, and she visited every business. She kept abreast of what our individual concerns were, and it was absolutely necessary. It made it much easier, and we really appreciated it.
And they did it in phases, so it wasn't like the whole strip for months and months under duress with just all of the construction. They were really good about communicating with the utility companies, with the construction workers, finding out when you were closed, if they were going to turn off the water, they would try to do it when you were closed. And it wasn't an easy process. There was a lot of vibration.
It was a massive construction process as far as I'm concerned. They completely removed curbs, gutters, and the street, and replaced them with new sidewalks, new trees and shrubs and stuff like that, and obviously the new light rail line. So business-wise, it impacted us by about 20 to 30%, depending on whether construction was right in front of us or if it was leading to us or what have you. A business like ours, a cafe and lounge, is a drop-in business. People don't make appointments like they might for their hairdresser or their dentist. And so the perception was that it was hard to get in and out of our place, which quite frankly it was during several months.
But in that, they had access to your business, so it wasn't like people couldn't access your entrance. They had signage, they had free advertising. The city, they just did so much to make it as smooth as possible. But definitely it was inconvenient, but it was temporary, and the benefits far outweigh the cons. It was just really a positive experience.
TriMet and the subcontractors made every effort to keep after every evening, when they're right in front of our place, they would clean up around their workplace. There was great signage. The business was open during construction. They kept our parking lot accessible as much as possible, and they always were in communication with us as to what kind of where they were along the construction process. And I would say if I was to go through this again, I would use that. They were pretty much the model of how to communicate with the business and let them know what to expect in the coming next morning or next coming days or next few weeks. And the communication and the effort to keep things clean and signage was very important for us to survive.
Our city is a great city for rapid transit. It's innovative and is used in other models, as you've probably figured out by now. But they know what they're talking about, and they know how to do it right, I think.
The city is still having maintenance people come out and take care of the trees and all the shrubs that they've put out at the sidewalks, and it's just a much cleaner street. The roads are smooth, the sidewalks are new.
We were very happy to get rid of the bus system along Interstate Avenue and have it replaced with a nice, I think a very efficient, comfortable, and attractive train. I think, in my opinion anyway, I think a person's more likely to ride a nice train than they are to get on a bus to go do their business.
It's quiet. That's another thing, is the MAX is really, really quiet, so I don't even hear it. 90% of the time, I don't even know when it's going by unless I look out.
It's been a fantastic revival of Interstate Avenue. We've seen across the street from us is a specialty store called New Season, which specializes in organic and a little bit more upscale type of grocery shopping. They're a wonderful neighbor. There have been several new businesses that are located along the avenue. The prices of land and the prices of homes that are near the light rail line have gone up considerably, and that's based on conversations with real estate agents that we've had, and just pricing out the various buildings that are for sale. They've gone up considerably, and we've certainly felt the impact of people walking to the light rail, to the areas where they get on board the light rail. We've seen a different mix of people than we ever have in the 26 years we've been here.
I see more people taking the bus and using MAX than there used to be.
Even if people don't come, we constantly get referrals, and it's because people have been on the MAX and they're like, hey, I know a place, it's on Interstate, and I just cannot imagine what the street would have been like without MAX, because it was already really in poor condition and a lot of prostitution and drugs and closed businesses. It did not look good. About 10 years ago, I never came down Interstate. And then when I had the opportunity to look at this property, I knew that MAX was coming. And so, again, I just waited it out and hung in there. And as soon as they were done, it's like night and day. So I know that in 5 years, you won't recognize Interstate. I'm sure there'll be a lot more new businesses. There's been several businesses that I noticed have refaced and are opening. And I just look forward to all the potential growth as far as businesses go. The Interstate Business Association is pretty strong, and the Overlook Neighborhood Association, this is the neighborhood that I'm in, it's a very old neighborhood, they're really strong also, and so they're all working together to try to keep it moving and make sure that there's positive growth.
There's more foot traffic and more cars going through here, and it really did increase our visibility.
We embrace Portland's view of alternate methods and means of transportation, and it's been the light rail, we think, has just been wonderful for Interstate Avenue. It's really revitalized a part of Portland that was in need of some kind of economic boost.
We had a lot of large groups coming through, visiting, and from all over who are looking at our transit system as a model.
Talk about what it was like the day that the Yellow Line opened.
Well, it was very exciting. All the businesses did special things. We have a deck that's out front, and so we had live bands and music, and honest to God, hundreds of people got off, and it scared us to death because there were so many people. We were so busy and so crowded. We have yet to have that kind of a lucrative day since. Those 2 days are still our best 2 days in 3.5 years. But it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and TriMet worked really hard to make it a big deal.
We're just proud Portlanders. We love the city that we live in, and the plan that Fred Hansen, the president of TriMet, has put forth, we think is very aggressive and one that we truly support and hope that it opens people's eyes and minds to a different way of getting around besides having one person per one car and all the things go with that.
Portland, Oregon's Department of Transportation organizes public walks around different parts of the city. I went on one of those walks to find out about their program.
I'm Rich Cassidy. I'm a transportation planner with the City of Portland, Oregon, and I am leading one of our walks known as a 10-Toe Express campaign. We've been doing this for about 4 years. Each year we select a different group of neighborhoods. We call it our target area, and we do guided walks, bike rides, all sorts of outreach activities, neighborhood fairs and festivals, provide bike maps and all sorts of information on the different modes. And this walk tonight is in a hilly neighborhood that has some great public stairways, beautiful views of downtown Portland, and a lot of people from nearby neighborhoods really don't know these stairways exist or these viewpoints. So it's one of the benefits of tonight's walk. We do all sorts of different walks. We do historical tours. We do art walks through different areas, looking at public art, talking to artists that have created murals. We do a sketchbook walk where people can get a sketch pad and sketch what they see.
In this area, specifically the Overlook area, they had a walk, and they're like about 2 or 3 miles, and it's great because you have a tour guide, you meet people from the community or from the city. Anyone within the city can go to any of these walks, and it's amazing. They're fun. They're set at a very nice pace, and you can actually find out a lot of history with the walk, because one of the things that we found out was Kaiser, which is Permanente, which started during the war, and that the reason the hospital was in existence was because of the folks that were working in the plant itself, not because of the healthcare system. So there's a lot of history in terms of the beginning of Portland, the activities, the businesses, industry, the use of the rivers, in terms of the shipyards, and just a lot of history. It's wonderful. And then also how things have changed and how things are changing and trying to incorporate that into it.
Well, I'm in the Traffic Management Bureau, so our mission is really to get people to drive less and bike more, walk more. I'm part of a transportation options division. So our goal is to really just to get people to be more active, take more trips on foot, by transit, or by biking. So we've been doing this for a couple of years. We've partnered with a large, actually, regional provider, Kaiser Permanente, and they've provided us with funding to create our walking kit, which we provide to people via direct mail. If they would like a walking kit, we'll send them a pedometer and a walking map. Created a series of walking maps for the different parts of town. So it's a great transportation and health partnership. People are taking fewer trips for short trips. They're taking fewer trips by car and walking more, which has a health benefit as well. We also have kind of a local business support goal, so we try to get people to walk to the store instead of drive, creating an incentive coupon book with local businesses that have donated a coupon, try to get people to walk or bike to the store rather than driving.
We have the Nutrition Council of Oregon, and one of the main focuses that we're focusing on right now in addressing obesity is to impact nutrition, in terms of looking at the nutrition standards, and then also to look at physical activity. The two go hand in hand. And so when you start looking at the school environment and looking at the foods that are sold not only in the National School Lunch Program, but also foods that are sold a la carte and through other areas such as clubs, PTAs, and so on, that when you start looking at the whole school environment by having nutrition standards or nutrition guidelines, you're able to help address the high fat, high sugar foods. But at the same time, you also have to have physical activity as well. And lifelong physical activity concepts, not just the elite sports, but lifelong activities that both children and adults can do throughout their lifetimes.
I mean, it seems like a really great way to just to check out new neighborhoods too, or parts of the city that folks haven't visited before.
That's the feedback we received. Each year I do an evaluation, and everybody that's gone on the walk, and a lot of people said that they discovered different parts of town they didn't know existed, different restaurants and stores, and that they've really learned quite a bit. We partner also with a local architectural group that leads historic walks. Normally they do historic preservation tours, so they're leading a couple each year for us in some of the older, more historic parts of the city.
You get a chance to meet people, you get a chance to find out about the neighborhood, you get a chance to meet people from all throughout the city, you get ideas on ways to stay active. It's a great way to communicate because it's multi-generational. You had young people there, like in their teens, you had people in their 20s and 30s, so you had the young people, you had the Xers, you had the Yers, and you had the Gens. You know, you had a whole group of folks there. So there's this cross fertilization of activity and sharing and just really getting to know each other and to learn, you know, and to learn. And it's a very pleasant way of communicating and exercising at the same time.
Everybody gets a name tag, and hopefully if you've come on this walk by yourself, you leave with a new friend, somebody that you can walk more with when we're not doing a walk. We do these once a week, but we're hoping that people get out and walk even more than that. These walks are about 3 to 4 miles, so we thought, wouldn't it be great if we created a little bit shorter walks for seniors? So we have a senior stroll program, and they're very similar to these walks, similar parts of town, similar themes, except they're more like a mile to a mile and a half. And instead of on Thursday evenings and Saturday mornings, as these are, they are Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m., so that we have the ability to attract more of the retired people that are trying to stay active.
I walk my talk, literally. I've done about 10 marathons or more, and I've walked them. I bike a little bit, not much, but I do bike. But I definitely walk, and I definitely take public transportation.
The target area program that we have done has shown a dramatic increase in walking trips. We've seen drive-alone trips go down as we go into these areas with our outreach efforts. We're trying to do a real individualized marketing approach where we contact each household 3 or 4 times, direct mail, then we deliver the materials by bicycle to every household. Each year we get about 5,000 participating households, meaning that they've ordered something, either a bike kit or walk kit. And we've seen, I think last year was about a 16% increase in walking trips and a reduction in drive-alone trips, and also a very dramatic increase in biking trips. We've done a lot on biking as well. Portland's known as the best bicycling city in America, and we're always trying to get more people bicycling and feeling comfortable riding in traffic. So we lead bike rides that are really aimed at getting people back on the bike. We also do a Women on Bikes clinic and series of rides because one of our colleagues noticed that there weren't as many women cycling, so now we have a Women on Bikes program where women can learn how to not only dress, wear the right clothes. It rains a lot in Portland, so you have to have the right gear, as well as learn how to tune your bike and just basically feel comfortable getting out there and riding to work on a bicycle.
But there are also hikes and walks throughout the city and surrounding neighborhoods. And a lot of those are organized. We're like 15, 20 minutes from Mount Normal Falls and that whole area in the gorge where there are lots of hikes. And then Forest Park, which is one of the largest urban parks, forests in the country, is very close by. And so you have planned activities where you don't have to go very far. You can actually bike to a hike in Forest Park, and I have friends who actually do that. And so you're able to use the resources, the natural resources within the city to actually to stay active.
This is a traffic control device. Can anybody guess what we nicknamed it? It's basically just to keep, cars out. It's called a pork chop.
Oh.
Sorry. That was traffic management trivia. We actually have 4 transportation departments here. We have the maintenance bureau that takes care of maintaining streets and street cleanings, snow and ice removal. Then we have the transportation planning department that's always working on regional transportation planning projects, such as expanding our light rail system, and now we're expanding streetcar. We're also going to have an aerial tram built connecting up to the Health Sciences University. Then we have an engineering department, the Public Works department, that's building streets, sidewalks, and other projects such as that. And then you have the traffic management or transportation system management bureau that I work for, that has signals, street lighting, and basically all of the engineering, traffic control, traffic safety. We also have a very active traffic safety division that is doing some of the similar things that I'm doing with more of a safety perspective, teaching seniors how to cross safely and doing school education programs with children, trying to get them to know the do's and don'ts of riding a bike to and from school. And they have a bike and walk to school program. So there's quite a bit going on in the traffic management department, as well as these other 3 bureaus.
In Portland specifically, it's a very active city in terms of physical activity, both in walking and in biking and in using public transportation, leaving your cars at home, using flex cars. So different kinds of ways to either bike to work, walk to work, or take public transportation and then able to walk a little bit to it that way as well.